Hi there, this is the Watchman News. We are going to show you how we make our infused gummies. So I've got most of the equipment here actually in front of you, and we're going to go through that first, and we're going to go through the equipment, and then I'll take you through the process. So as I go through this equipment and start getting it out and stuff like that, I'm going to explain to you what it is that we're infusing and why. And I know I'm going to have a lot of haters out there, and I know that there's going to be a lot of disbelief in what I'm saying. So just I don't know. So anyway, first off, we've got our equipment here. This here is an infusing machine. This is the STX Infusium 420. I have a decarboxylation machine in here. I'll show you that here just momentarily, as well as our gummy molds and all kinds of stuff in here. So we also have what we are going to be infusing. Now that's where there's going to be probably a little bit of discontent about. So we wanted to live a healthier life, and so I thought, you know what, I want to make broccoli infused gummies. So I set off. I went to the store to get broccoli infused gummies, and so on my way to the store, I ran across this guy, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I started explaining to him my health kick, wanting broccoli infused gummies, and he said, "You know what? I got something better for you. I can save you the trip. You don't have to go even as far." He goes, "I've got you taken care of." "What you got?" And he goes, "Pygmy broccoli." I'm like, "No way." And he's like, "Yeah, pygmy broccoli." He's like, "It's way more nutritious than the conventional broccoli." So, all right, I'm game. So we will be infusing pygmy broccoli. So that is what this is. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, man. He told me that's what it was, and I mean, it's more expensive than the regular broccoli. So I would assume that that's because it's a specialty product, pygmy broccoli. So anyway, let's go over some of the stuff here. I guess really, so I can kind of get this big box out of the way. Let me cover it first, because the machine's not nearly as big as the box. That's the way it usually is, right? So this is again, the Infusium 420 by STX. I wanted this machine in particular because of the design of it. And I'm not hating on anybody's equipment or anything like that, but like Magical Butter Machine, you have a 2-cup minimum and all that you can do. I didn't want I think it's called a Levo. The Levo 1, I just wasn't too hip on the Levo 1. The Levo 2 and I believe I got the name right, that sounds like it would be a pretty killer machine, but it was out of my price range. So this can do 1 cup, so this can do as little as 1 cup. So that's one of the reasons. Plus, the reason why this can do 1 cup and not a minimum of 2, and it's because, well, I'll show you that. Bear with me. So you get with the package that I bought. They've got different packages you could buy. I did want the other one that came with 4 filters, but when I clicked add to cart, it was out of stock, and this is the one that they had in stock. The one that comes with 2 filters there, which is fine, not a big deal. And this one comes with a gummy, not a gummy mold. I'm sorry, a butter mold. It's a butter mold. The other one, the bigger set that I originally wanted, does actually come with a gummy mold too. But it does come with silicone spatulas, which is nice. Here's a silicone glove, so for dealing with hot products. And I don't use this, but I do use mechanics gloves when I actually pour the gummies. So, but I don't use this glove, so I haven't found a need for it. So, real quick, before I grab the machine out, I'll show you the documentation you get with it. So right here, you get an instruction manual with it, and then this is a cookbook. So nice little unit. I like it. I really like it. I can get, let's see, pretty much all of that out of the way. And I believe it's the inside filter that I'm going to want. So, I know. I keep telling people how I'm a stickler for storing things like how I get it when I buy it. You know what I mean? I'm not kidding. I mean that. I'm that way. Literally, I put the cord back in the plastic, right? That the cord came in. I am OCD. I know it. So, look at that. Here is the butter machine here, and I want to show you something. You know, that's how I wiggle that top straight up like that. Okay, so this top don't screw down. Okay, it don't latch. It don't. The only thing it's got is there's an electrical connector right there, and that electrical connector lines up with that electrical connector, and this thing pushes straight down. That's it. It don't twist. It don't lock. It don't do anything like that. It just pushes straight down. That's it. So if you buy one of these, and I think most of these machines are the same, keep that in mind. Don't crank on it, because I've even seen in reviews where somebody apparently cranked on it and broke that, and then complained that it was fault to the machine. It's not. You got to know how to work with things sometimes, and the way that this is made, you kind of want to wiggle that a little bit and pull it straight up. Okay, you don't want to crank to the side. You'll break that connector. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. The difference between this and like the magical butter machine, and again, I'm not beating up on anybody here, but the magical butter machine, it's thermometer, because I've got a thermometer. It's in the machine, built into the top of the machine here, and it comes down. Okay, and so that's why there's a 2-cup minimum, because you have to be able to have your stuff, whatever you're making, your butter, your oil, your tincture, whatever you're making. It has to be able to reach that temperature probe so that the machine knows what temperature it is. Okay, so, and that's a 2-cup minimum on that machine. On this machine, and I'll try to get up in there with the camera, you'll see a little round circle there in the bottom. Okay, and that little round circle in the bottom is where the temperature probe is. So that's why you can get away with 1 cup in this machine versus the 2 cups in the other. So I wanted to show you that about this. This is one of the reasons why I chose this machine, was because of the ability to do the smaller amounts. Because I'm not doing this, I'm not making edibles for profit or anything like that. It's literally just for us. So I didn't want something that I had to make a ton of at one time. So that is the butter machine there, the infuser, I should say. And here I've got tons of stuff, molds, as you see, with look, with pygmy broccoli leaves, right? So it's kind of cool, right? How you could find all that stuff. This isn't a must. This is citric acid. This is just if you want to if you want to put your gummies like in sugar and maybe have a little bit of a sour too. Citric acid, you add it for the sour part. We did that initially, but I stopped doing that because it turns to liquid in the freezer, so, or the fridge, either one. It turns to liquid, the sugar does. So it's like, it's just messy. So this is sunflower lecithin, and I'm sure I'm probably saying it wrong. Sunflower lecithin. And you need to have this. This is a binding agent. You need to have this when you make your oil, because you're going to need to bind. You're going to need to bind it. Essentially, you're going to need to bind the active ingredients of the pygmy broccoli. Okay, the active ingredients of the pygmy broccoli with the coconut oil. So to do that, we're going to use sunflower lecithin. Here's jars, which we will use to pour our product in. This is I use this as a tray in combination with my scale and lane. This is what I use to pour my gummies. Okay, and here is small gummies. Jen uses the small ones for the most part, and I use the big ones because this here is your gelatin. Now, because we follow the Torah, we do our best to follow the Torah. We're using beef gelatin. So if that's not a concern for you, then you can use any kind of gelatin you want. But we're specifically using beef gelatin because of that. So, whisk. Everybody needs a little whisk. Little scale. These are awesome little scales. Especially when you can actually get it delivered to your address. It's a really awesome scale. So, but anyway, that is that. Let me go ahead real quick, and I'm going to throw a lot of this back in here. Need that. Because the first thing that you have to do in this, and I'm trying to do as much without having to turn off the camera before I, need to get to that point to where I need to turn it off. So, which is I need to finish weighing out. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to weigh out all the pygmy broccoli on camera because it's not necessary. So this here is a decarboxylation machine. Now this is a Herb Oven brand decarboxylator. STX does make one, and I wanted one of the XTX ones, but they were out of stock when I was ready to make my purchase. This company had some in stock, so either way, you don't even have to have one of these. Most people, I believe, just throw it in their oven for about on 250 for, they say 30-40 minutes. Even the book, recipe book says 30-40 minutes in the oven at 250. This machine, for whatever reason, does it 250 at 60 minutes. It automatically chooses the time when you choose that. You can set it, you can adjust it, but it starts out at 60. Oops, so I just let it do its thing at 60. But this is a nice little machine. Came with a nice little kind of I don't know what that is made out of, but it would be similar to like something cheesecloth you can strain with it. So, and then the manual there. And a little spoon, a little brush for cleaning. And I'm telling you, I am bad about putting stuff back the way that I bought it. Manual in there, that in there, that's in there. And get rid of that. So this the decarboxylator. Okay, so what I will do is I will weigh out the proper amount of pygmy broccoli, and I will put that in the decarboxylator. Okay, and then we'll fire it up. So let me get that weighed out. I'll bring the camera back, and we'll get this thing fired up. So talk to you in just a moment. Okay, welcome back. So now we are ready to decarboxylate our pygmy broccoli. So I've got roughly 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli measured out here. And so the first time, when we originally doing this, the first couple of times I should say, we used 3.5 grams of pygmy broccoli, and it was okay. And then we started using, we made a batch using 7 grams of pygmy broccoli, and it was considerably better. Not quite right where I want it. So we're going to bump it up. We're going to try 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli. And this is per cup. This is per 1 cup of oil. So that's what we're going to be making is 1 cup of oil. Now 1 cup of oil will make 2 batches of gummies, okay? So for what we're doing now, it's going to be 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli in our 1 cup of oil, and that is going to make 2 batches of our gummies. So we're going to just take our pygmy broccoli here, and we're just going to put it down in the machine. Really no big science to it. And this machine here, they claim, will decarb up to 1 ounce of pygmy broccoli at a time. So that is nowhere near, and yeah, it's nowhere near, and that's half or a little better full. I mean, it's not smushed down there. I don't want it to be smushed down, but yeah, that would be that'd be interesting to see. So anyway, you got your lid here, and this lid just goes on. Kind of start it on at its side, and you'll find where it will catch, and then close it. Make sure it's secure. And then you plug the machine in. Okay, and on this machine, you can choose your temperatures. Okay, 250 is what we want, but you can choose 180. 180 will automatically come up for 95 minutes. 300 will automatically come up for 35 minutes, but we want 250, which automatically comes up for 65 minutes. Now, you can adjust the time. You can go up to, I guess, 90 or 100 minutes or whatever, or you can start at 30, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and do 45, because I'm going to give it, roughly 5 minutes to heat up, and then the other 40 to decarb. So, and again, that's on 250. So, and I did not hit start. I did not tell it to start. That's why it didn't, and it cleared. So I got to redo that. Sorry. We get to 45 seconds here, or 45 minutes here. Now it's going. You long press your button there to get it started. The red light's on. That's indicated that it is heating up. And so now this will run, and when it's finished, it will beep and let me know that it's finished. And then you have to cool down your decarbed pygmy broccoli before we can start to infuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. We will come back after this is done decarbed, and we'll start on the next step. Alrighty, welcome back. So we are finished with decarboxylating our pygmy broccoli, and so what I'm going to do is, now, in all fairness, I did let this machine cool for about 10 minutes before I started filming this video, so I wanted it to cool down just a little bit before handling the machine. And so I'm just going to twist the top and pull it out, and that usually gets a little deformed. You just pop it back in place, so not a big deal. So anyway, there is your decarboxylated pygmy broccoli in there. And so what you want to do is I just going to dump it in there, and then I'm just going to simply wipe this out. I've got a trash can over here. I just wiped it out, and I'm just going to put the lid back on it here, and I'm just going to put the machine back away. Like I told you, I am a stickler about this. I already put the cord in the box. It's already in there. Just waiting to put this back in there. Just like that. And there you go, like brand new. So anyway, I'm going to take this now, and I'm actually going to put this in the freezer. And the reason why is because you want to make sure that this is absolutely, completely cooled down. I read that somewhere. I don't know 100% why, but I read that you want to make sure that it's completely 110% like cooled down. So I am going to pause the video and put this in the freezer. And I'm going to gather my other ingredients that I need for the oil together, get them on the table here, along with any utensils I need, and I will show you the process of making the oil. So see you back in a moment. Alrighty, welcome back. Let's see if we can get this right the first time. So we've got our coconut oil here, we've got our utensils here, we've got our sunflower lecithin, and our machine. We have a Pyrex measuring cup and our filter. So got all that stuff sitting here, but just to start out, what we're going to need, I brought the plate to be able to put stuff on so I wouldn't get the table all messy. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to bring our machine over, trying to get stuff in a proper direction of workflow here. Now I'm going to get this top off of the machine, set it off to the side here, and I'm going to try to carefully open the coconut oil here. And it looks pretty liquidy as it is. That's going to be simple enough. Thought I was going to have to dip a little bit. Hang on here. Or not dip, but I mean scoop. But apparently not. So I'm just going to do this. Put that in there. And I am going to add just a touch more for two reasons. Number one, that wasn't completely full. And number two, I want to make sure that all said and done, that I do for sure have a cup, a full cup. So maybe a tad. And I turn around, and I'm not even using this because I'm goofy. Okay, so let me get this over here without making any more of a mess. Get that lid on there so I feel safer about myself. And so let me grab sunflower lecithin. Now, if I had a brain in my head, I would have had a paper towel or something when I'm doing this, but I don't. And I got stuff on my fingers, and it's just going to have to live there until I'm done with this scene, because hashtag we're committed. Alright, so I'm going to get my tablespoon here, and I've got oil on it that I did not want, so one moment. The magic of things off screen. So, okay, I didn't want a bunch of oil on that. It's not too bad now. It's still going to stick. You want to use 1 tablespoon of sunflower lecithin for each cup of oil. So, okay, we'll go a little over, but I don't want to be overboard. There we go. Looks good to me. So we're going to dump that in there, just like that. Close our pouch back up. And we are going to take our pygmy broccoli. Remember, there was 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli, a cup of oil, and a tablespoon of sunflower lecithin. Okay, that's it. And all you do, take your top and you put it down. Put it down all the way to go. Make sure it's all the way down. Now, let me get the plate out of the way here. Plug the machine in. Alrighty. Now, you can select your different stuff, like you can select oil, butter, do it yourself. You can select the different stuff there, right? and then you just click start when you're ready to go. So now I'm not ready to go yet though. I wanted to talk to you for a moment. So anyway, before we get this started, the reason I've got a bag here is, and I don't know if this was just a fluke or not, but the very first time that I used this machine, oil came out of the sides of it, and that kind of wasn't cool. So I don't want that to happen, and so instead of doing that, in fact, I wish I had a little better way to get this thing plugged in. I might search for that. I might actually pause the video and search for that before I actually start this. So let me do that. I'll be right back, and then I'll get it started. There's a couple of reasons why. I'll explain in just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I was going to plug it in a little bit differently, but I cannot find another cord. I was going to plug it in because it's not plugged in with the grounded outlet. I kind of would prefer that it is, but no, it is what it is. I don't have a cord with 3 prongs that I can plug it in with. So nonetheless, yes, I'm using one of those little bitty orange adapters. Anyway, let's continue. The reason why I wished I could plug it in is because there's a metal ring around here, and when I just grazed it with my finger a while ago, I did get a tingle. So note to you, it is a 3-prong plug for a reason. Use them. So do as I say, not as I do. So anyway, we're all good to go. We're ready to go. We're already set on oil here. Everything's all preset for what we need. All we have to do is press that magical start button. So that's what we're going to do. You press start. You see the lights light up around the unit here. They light up red, and it's going to preheat a little bit, and then it's going to spin, and you'll hear that. I'm going to put this around it because, like I said, that first time it splattered. And then what I'm going to do is I'll be back right before this shuts off. I'll be back. So we shall see you in roughly an hour. Not real sure if I let the machine kick on while I was still doing the video a while ago, so I wanted to make sure you heard the machine running. It does make noise. It's not silent or anything like that. Imagine a high-speed blender, because that's essentially what this is. It both blends and heats the contents at the same time. So that's what it's doing, and it will make quite a bit of racket. That's just the way it works. So just wanted to make sure that I shot a little bit of video with it spinning. So there you have it. Talk to you in a little bit. Okay, welcome back. We got just under a minute left on this. I'm going to go ahead and pull this bag off of here, and I'm just going to go ahead and discard the bag. There wasn't a lot. I do see a little bit of oil in there, but it's not like it's a ton. But I would recommend putting a bag over it just to protect anything you have around it. So, I show 30 seconds left. And I wanted to make sure to bring you back to see this because when it shuts off, it does say end on the screen, and this does turn green, but it's just for a moment. So, I wanted to make sure you saw that. So, anyway, 10 seconds. And there you go. Just beeps kind of quietly, but beeps and says end on the screen, and of course you see the green light there. So that's it. That's done. So I'm going to unplug the machine. Okay. Scoot it over this direction here. I'm just going to open my filter up, and I got just the right size measuring glass. I can kind of just let it support it. So while I do the most of this, I mean, if I was making a bunch, like 3 cups or something like that, I would come up with something else, but it's only going to be a cup. So, and again, you want to kind of wiggle that top off. You don't want to just kind of yank it off, because you want to make sure you get that disconnected there. So anyway, I'm going to grab my spatula here, and I'm not a king at this, so I'm just kind of trying to get it off of there. Doesn't really matter all that much. I'm going to just set this off to the side here. Like that. Going to get a little bit on the table. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape the inside of this. Scrape everything down. I know you really can't see in there very well, but I'm just scraping. It's not rocket science. I'm just kind of trying to get everything down before I start pouring. That way when I pour, the majority of it will come with it. So, and I'm going to try to stick in the middle when I pour. Pour it in there. Take my spatula. Get out as much as you can. And I'm going to raise this up. Letting it drain into there. I'm kind of slowly, I know I'm being quiet here, I'm slowly going around, I'm listening, because I'm going around the bag a little bit. I don't know if you noticed me doing that on camera, but because there's quite a bit still in there, but the filter's kind of clogged. So I'm doing this to kind of help speed up the process a little bit. They say the other one, which is a coarser mash, they say that that's the one to use with oils, and this is a finer mash. This is a 73, and I mean it pours through this fine. And if I can get nice, clean, strained coconut oil, I'll take it. You know, I'll take that over having little bits of bits or whatever you want to say in it. I mean, that's not a problem. Now, doing it this way, that gives it quite a bit of time to cool. You know, they tell you, you know, the gloves, because it's so hot. So, but when I do it this way, it gives it enough time to cool that you can just grab it with your fingers and you can squeeze. It's not that hot. It's warm. It's not hot. So, I just squeeze as much out of it as I can like that. Now that I have all kinds of oil over my hands and no way to wipe them off. Sweet! Okay, so what I'm going to do, set these here, and I've got 3. Our intent is to fill 2, but if there's a little left over, then it goes into a 3rd. I guess I can try to aim to drip over stuff maybe. Hey, I made it that time. I want to be filled to the tippy top. A little left over I'll put in there. Okay, and remember, this was made with 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli versus the last batch I made, which was with 7 grams of pygmy broccoli. So we'll see how this does. And the next step is actually going in there and making our jello. So, or not jello, but gummies, using jello and gelatin. So, all a pretty simple process. I need to obviously finish sealing these jars, clean my hands up, get this stuff cleaned up, and next time you see me, we'll be at the kitchen and it will be making gummies. So talk to you soon. Okay, we're gonna work on making our gummy recipe here. So we've got our beef gelatin. Again, we use beef gelatin just simply because we are Torah observant. Otherwise, if you were vegan or something like that, you well, I don't know if vegans would use the beef or not. I guess vegans wouldn't use the beef either, but we're just following the Torah, so we're good with beef, right? As long as it's not pork. So anyway, what else we have here? We have our Jello, and then what I'm going to do is, the recipe calls for 3 ounces of Jello. There's 3.94 in the box. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to weigh 3 ounces out and go with that. So start out with that. Get this on here, like so. And we're going to weigh out 3 ounces. And I'm actually going to save that because there's almost an ounce in there. And so almost every 3 packages you'll have another one. I'm going to dump it back here. And the reason why is because we need 1 ounce of the beef gelatin powder. Real close. Call it good there. Okay, so again, 3 ounces of Jello, 1 ounce of the gelatin powder. Turn that scale off, set it to the side here, and so what I've got here for the recipe I'm making now, understand, ours is kind of, we're making potent stuff compared to what the recipe was that I had seen for it all. So, first of all, I just want to clarify that there was 10.5 grams of pygmy broccoli in 1 cup of this oil, okay? And we're using a 1/2 cup plus a little, because I had a little left over. I used half in the first batch I made. This is because I already made a batch. This is the other half, and then of the little that was left over, and then this is the half of the, 1/2 cup. This is a full 1/2 cup. So I'm just throwing this in because it's a little that I had left over. So a little over 1/2 cup, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to refill this with water, and then dump it back in there, and that's all we need for that. So let's start off with the small one here. Just going to dump it in there. Take this spatula here and try to quickly get out as much as I can. All that goodness in the bottom of there, huh? Hopefully you're getting enough light to catch that. Get it all right now. Okay, and then like I say, I take this. And refill it with water and dump it in like that. Clean my hands off real quick. I mean, you can let it sit on your skin if you want, but and some people might prefer that, but yeah, I just want to shoot a video and be productive. Anyway, there's actually a funny story I could talk about that, but anyway, so let me tell you what I'm going to do next. I'm going to come over here to my burner and I'm going to turn on medium. So I'm actually going to turn it down after a little bit. Oop. But I'm going to start it out with medium. And the reason why is because electric burner, it takes a little bit to warm up. So I'm just kind of turbocharging the process here a little bit. Now you want to get this warmed up a little bit before you add anything. And again, I don't know how well the lighting is getting down in there. Probably not real super well, but I'll try to show you what I'm looking for best I can. I'll tilt the pan up and whatnot. So again, turn it on medium just to kind of get it to start heating up a little bit quicker. I'll be turning it down here once we achieve that, once we do start getting it warmed up. Make sure you have your bottle handy, your lid, and your gloves. I use mechanics gloves because this bottle is going to be hot. So you don't want to try pouring into your gummy molds without having gloves on. Not just with the condiment bottle alone, because it is hot. It is too hot to hold that way. So put some gloves on, help insulate. And mechanics gloves still gives me that use of my fingers, and at the same time, it's just enough to insulate it so that it doesn't burn my fingers. So just kind of stir this here and there, and like I say, we're waiting for it to start to warm up a little bit. You know, they say oil and water don't mix. That's a fact. And so that's what we're trying to do, is get oil and water to mix. So the only way you're even going to remotely achieve that is by heating it. So that is what we are doing. And you will notice when it kind of starts to go together. I mean, I want to say that it looks like it is now. Yeah, I think it is. So, because you could tell it was rather separated, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but now when I stir it, it looks a lot more uniform. You can't really tell the water separate from the oil. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to back my burner up a little bit here, okay? And because I just kind of wanted to get it heated up, so I backed my burner off a little bit. I'm going to take my beef gelatin powder here, And I'm just going to mix it in like so. Try not to slosh. I normally use a whisk, but it's metal, and I prefer not to use a metal whisk on, on non-stick hot. So I thought, well, I'll use the silicone thing that came in there, and I don't know if it's going to work well or not. I may have to turn around and grab my whisk and go at it. You know what? I'm going to do that because that's sloshing. This is what I normally use as a whisk. So you may want to take note of that and follow suit. No big deal. Just whisk it up. All you want to do is whisk it all together good. Get it all dissolved in there. And if it looks a little clumpy for a little bit, that's okay. Just keep whisking. It's all going to be good. So, if you notice, it's got kind of a white, almost a foamy look to it. Okay? And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up my heat a little bit. I'm going to turn my heat up to medium here. And I'm going to watch for it. And it is warm enough, so I'm going to start adding in some of my jello. And I'm just going to whisk in the jello. The jello's in, and you might have to wrestle with it at first to get it to mix in with the other stuff, and that's okay. It might just take it a little bit to mix in. That's fine. Just keep stirring. I know a couple of times I've been like, uh-oh, this don't seem right. Just keep stirring. What I do is I just keep stirring until I can tell it's all kind of mixed in together, like it's supposed to be. And then I'll show you here. Be very careful because this stuff is hot and it's easy to splosh around. So, okay, so we're pretty mixed up, and I'll look, and yep, we're kind of boiling. So I'm going to hit my timer. 5 minutes on the timer. I'm going to back my heat down a little bit, and what we're watching for is we're just watching for it to kind of boil it up a little bit like that, and then we're just going to stir it. So, and it's still not completely mixed up, but believe me, you're going to do plenty of stirring in this next 5 minutes. Now it's stirred up real well, and again, you just let it bubble up a little bit, just like that, and start. Sure, you're making jello essentially, but with a little bit of added gelatin with it, so when it cools, it's going to firm up a little more than just regular jello. So, not really rocket science. The whole project's really not rocket science. It's really simple. And like I say, this, to some people this may seem to be a super strong dose, I guess. I don't know. To other people, not so much. And it depends on the size of your gummies and all of that. For instance, our small gummies are 2.1 milliliter of liquid, and our large gummies are exactly 3.5 of our small gummies. So you do the math. And one thing I will add is you don't want to overheat any of this, and you don't You know, we're doing this for 5 minutes. You want to be at the low end of everything, at the low end of the heat that you can be, and at the low end of the time that you possibly can be. Because the longer and the hotter that you heat this, the more you can lose the potency. So you kind of want to be gentle with it as much as possible. So 2.5 minutes left on the clock here. It's looking like it always does, so that's a good thing. And as soon as this gets finished, I'll shut the timer off. I'll get it poured in the bottle, and I'll shut the camera off, and I'll see you in there to fill the gummies, to fill the molds anyway. Really simple to do. And you can infuse it with whatever you want. You can infuse, I mean, pygmy broccoli is awesome. And you can infuse it with carrots if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. Use it with what you want. T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds mark. And you know, it's probably good to go now, but you know, Hot Mom 420 said to do it for 5 minutes. So. When in Rome, do what Hot Mom 420 said. Twenty seconds left. I always turn it back up to medium for the last 10 seconds or so, just to get it warmed back up good. So that I've got as much time as possible. But I mean, it's not too bad. So all I'm going to do here, I'll try to get out of the camera, I'm going to slowly, and I've got a little pour lip on my pan here, so I wouldn't be doing it this way if I didn't have that. Just a note of caution. You want to use a funnel or something like that if you don't have a little pour spout on the lip of the thing. Otherwise it'll get messy quick. Alright, put your lid on. Put your gloves on, and I will see you in the other room. Alrighty, and now we are going to pour the gummies. So I'm going to wear a pair of mechanics gloves when I do this because it offers just enough insulation that I don't get burned and still gives me dexterity. Now, be very careful because it will try to splurge out of the end. You will notice when I'm pouring that, oops, see what I mean? It will try to splurge, especially when you first start, so be careful. And, you know, the truth of the matter is, you're not going to be perfect. So, and you get better this is really hot, and I'm not doing this where I'm used to doing it, and so I'm doing this down lower. I'm not nearly as close to the same level with the gummies. And I know I'm making a bunch of excuses here, but you get used to a method, and this is a little bit of a tricky task to do. Don't let anybody fool you. And I use the condiment bottle they give you when you buy the molds. Sometimes they'll give you little eyedroppers. There is no way that you'd be able to keep up by the time your solution, cooled, and it'd want to kind of splurge out on you easy, or real liberally like that. I've got a real small opening in the end of that. This is actually my third nozzle that I cut. The other two were even opened up bigger than this one. And the problem is you got to get the nozzle just right, because otherwise it'll come out too easy when it's hot, but when it starts to cool, you won't be able to get it out. So, and you've got a little bit of time, but not, tons. So you want to kind of work as efficiently as you can. And once you get down, as you see, I'm not having nearly the problems now. Once you start getting some of your molds filled, I think what it is you get a bit of a vacuum inside of this condiment bottle, and that vacuum helps. If you noticed, we are pouring red. Oops, dang it. Yikes. See, I made a big mistake there. It's like it gets air in it, or if you let air get in it, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but it'll spurt out like that. It'll make a mess. It'll spray. It is what it is. And I am rather new at doing this, so I'm sure there are better methods and things I am unaware of. Did it to me again. I'm not used to it doing it this bad, but I'm not used to doing it, filling these down on this table either. I'm used to doing it on the counter in the kitchen where it's up a little higher. I can see a little more level. And also the way I do it is I kind of start them off on the edge of the counter so that I can hang the bottle over the edge of the counter a little bit instead of being so high up over them like I am. And I can kind of come at it a little bit more level, which seems to help out when you're starting out with a fresh bottle. So, but anyway, as I was saying, I'm pouring red ones. You're going to see me mixing blue ones, and that is because I'm making two batches, and the camera was already in here. So the first batch, you're actually seeing me fill the molds, and the second batch is the one you'll see me cook. So, which would be blue. Almost there. Oh, we'll call that good. So, anyway, we filled up all three, made a little bit of a mess. Filled up all three of the small ones, filled up two of the big ones, and that's not too awful bad for a batch there. Like I say, you're gonna have that. I normally don't have it as badly because I'm set up a little bit different in there, and I'm used to how I'm set up in there versus to this. But that's how you do it. Now you simply just take these and you put them in the fridge, and I put them in there for in the freezer actually for 20 minutes, and then I bring them out and I'll pop them out, and I'll show you that. So I'll bring you back as I pop them out. I'll see you in a moment. And we're back. It's time to pop the gummies out of the mold. That is simple enough. And I did mess up quite a few on these. I normally don't mess up that bad, but on these particular molds I start at the bottom of the leaf. It just makes it easier. You kind of learn. For each mold I assume it will be different as to the best way to do it, so you just kind of have to learn for each design. So these are going to be a little trickier because of what happened. So you just pop them out. It normally goes a lot easier because I don't have all the excess, but that happens. And anytime you're used to working in one workspace and you switch to another workspace, you're going to have a little bit of fun adapting. All of them in there. Yep. All of them in that mold. I did have myself in a routine where I went around the mold like this. Yeah. Okay, and then I go in the inside of the mold and go around that. And then just one in the middle. That one's empty. Go into this one. So they're pretty easy to pop out. They don't, and this is a pretty detailed design. I'll show you a close-up of it here in a second. It's a pretty detailed design, really, and they come out really nice looking. So got lost to where I was. Then show you a close-up of the design there. A bit of focus. I don't know if you can really see that or not on there, but it's got a pretty intricate design there. So they come out really nice. I'm actually surprised at how defined they are. So then the big ones. They're easy to get out. Okay, and then I just take these and I put them in a Ziploc bag and I store them in the freezer. So that's where I put them to keep them until we eat them. So there you go. Gummies. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's really simple to do, as you can see, and I recommend giving it a shot. So anyway, have a good day. Shalom.